Finish jamming out to that a little bit and get this ball rolling. Alrighty, folks. We're back on the channel for a minute. Just a little bit of goodness and some vibing tunes there. Hope everyone is well. And not really too much special from me today, just kind of discussing some of the stuff that we've had going on. I mean, of course, we know today's Halloween, and there's a super blue, well, a super blue full blood moon tonight, or technically, I think it's early wee hours. And yeah, so I mean, just that in itself is like a huge pivotal moment in the astrological sense. It's like the trifecta of lunar movements. It's something that hasn't happened in a really long time. I know I was doing a little digging the other day that the last just regular full moon on Halloween was 1944. And the last blue moon was, which would be like the super full moon as well, was 1866. So I was just kind of considering those dates. I'm like, wow, the last kind of couple of times there's been a powerful lunar cycle on the I'll take these off for a second. On the All Hallows Eve culmination of things, there's been a lot of fuckery going on. You know, just those two dates that I rattled off there. I mean, two big wars, either at the end or right in the middle, and we do know that there was individuals, groups, whatever you want to delineate them as, that probably weren't in the best of circumstances to their practices. So, yeah. Hey, Tricky, what's going on, brother? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So yeah, I mean, not only is it like a really huge big event in the lunar cycle of itself, but I mean, just the time. Of course, there's all those like superstitions and all the other things that go on with All Hallows Eve. I'm not going to get into just the deep nitty gritty of the occulted sense of it, but regardless, there is a thinning of the veil. And, you know, talking with many different folks over the week or so, like the last 2 weeks, it seems, has been really, really oppressive to the vibes, as it were. A lot of fatigue, a lot of kind of assaults towards the light body as a whole, you know. And I was having this conversation the other day with a fellow podcaster that really kind of we've all been distant for a minute. And it's not just me, it's not just them, it's several folks in between that we both know or talk to and respectively in our own lives. And it's been like this huge feeling where there's a lot of heaviness, a lot of fatigue. There's been just that drive hasn't been there. And I really assimilate it to the light body as a whole. I mean, all of the light workers here in this realm that are doing our best to hold together the knitting of the grid, you know. And what's wild, especially coming into this week, I really feel like as a whole it was mainly focused on, you know, some of the wrong things, letting that energetic vibration focus on some more of the negatives rather than the uplifting and the healing, if that kind of makes sense. Um, right. I totally agree. It's the calm before the storm. However, you know, I think it was the day before yesterday. Yeah, um, Thursday. I mean, it was a huge radical change in the whole vibes of the soul, of the consciousness, and everything. And I was very appreciative just because I knew that it's getting better. Like, even going into what today would be a huge, significant ritualistic ideology towards whatever and whoever, it's like almost like backing a cat into a corner. And that cat, even if it's not feral, it is desperate in that corner and it will eat you up. I mean, it's gonna get you, it's gonna scratch you. So instead of like trying to trap that cat, you know, you just back away, leave it alone, and well, shoot, a few minutes later, it's gonna come investigate and hell, might want to approach you. And I know that kind of is convoluted in a way. Really, all I'm getting at is instead of been focusing on backing that cat into a corner or trying to nullify the negative energies, it's like as a whole, it's been uplifted. Like that isn't a constant because if we shift our perspective and our energy towards the greater and the more natural and the healing and the divine, you know, stop placing our faith in the misguided beliefs of various things, you know, get back to that divinity, recognize God's work and what creation actually is within this realm, you forget, well, not necessarily forget, and I'm not saying ignore either, but that little negative Nancy in the corner is no longer taking up the full scope. I mean, that's one corner, right? There's at least 3 other corners in a room, and hey, they got their own big problems, right, too. So I don't know. It's just good things are coming. It's like, I mean, yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I'm getting at, Tricky. I really think the pressure of itself has been averted to a different cause, if that kind of makes sense. Like, instead of being weighed down by all this negative stuff that we're trying to either nullify, eradicate, whatever you wish to call it, we are not only educating and getting to really know something greater and more powerful than just the bickering of good versus evil. And I don't like to call it bickering either, because it is a very prevalent thing, and it has been for millennia. So, in that regard, basically what I'm getting at is that of that and this whole duality that we've been perpetuating, we're shifting that consciousness to something higher, something greater, something more like, I don't know. Basically, is the consciousness, the whole light body of itself, is elevating and ascending in its own right. Just a second, folks. Let me catch a phone call real quick. All right, so I totally agree. Feeling the weight lift, that whole sense of the truth, knowledge of it, like true knowledge and everything. That kind of is part of my big topics today. Is the sensation that a massive weight is lifted, almost like the making oneself released of egotistic emotions like convoluted pride or doubtful shame. I mean, other things like that, just things that, in like a Buddhist sense, that do not matter to this matter. I know that sounds weird. as far as the waking up with a falling feeling, I have, but no longer in a sense. Like, what I specifically remember about a falling instance was when there was this, not from the last story that I told on the last show that you had asked about, Tricky. It came sometime after, I would say, like in a moment in my life where I was immensely stressed, not in the right mindset, and I had it was almost like a tutelage battle with the ancient one from within. Uh, think of like a gladiatorial arena, and I kept just getting knocked on my ass, and like it was, I kept basically doing the same thing. Like, it was basically the epitome of insanity, like doing the same motions, trying to gain the upper hand the same way every time. And as the teacher, you would look at it like you can read the student's moves, and emotion is causing him to lash out in predictable ways, right? So I mean, I kept just getting my feet swept and just busting my butt flat back in constantly. And before I realized it, it's like I was on the outer edge of the ring, and coming to that realization, it was like I needed to change, but my body, if it makes sense, was constantly like muscle memory. Even though I knew I should have changed the mentality had changed, but the actions hadn't changed. If that makes sense. And in that attempt to remove myself from the edge, I was then again swept off my feet, and instead of falling within the ring and like flat back, I fell off the ring, and which didn't really make sense to me because I mean we were on flat ground for the entirety of the fight, and then it was like falling through wet concrete. I mean, it felt like liquid, I guess, but it was more like a viscous material, and it was just the further I fell, it was heavier, and it was like the weight of repeated actions, as if it were, that caused that feeling. And it wasn't so much a feeling of fear either. It was more so like reconciliation to I'm fucking up and do better. So when I did come to, it did give me a different outlook. Like I started analyzing things more. I started, I guess this would be another one of my awakening points, I suppose you would say, that a deeper introspective. I would make that kind of assertion that it was something that allowed me to have deeper introspection of myself and better myself for it. Yeah, so fresh perspective indeed. Um, so yeah, this episode was actually planned for yesterday, I'm kind of glad it came out today, though, just because, the ideas and thoughts and discussions I had yesterday helped me prepare and propel my agenda for this one today. And, like, of course, I have some of my writings. I know y'all are probably bored of me reading. Just some tidbits, though. Like, so it would have been called Friday's Fascination, and today it's Stimulating Saturdays. I mean, it's basically the same thing. The things that fascinate us and will also are the same things that stimulate our mental processes, right? So when we believe ourselves to be learned, are we knowledgeable? When we are taught, are we given knowledge? And when we gain knowledge, have teachings been learned? What constitutes knowledge from learnings and teachings? So this is something I've been thinking and considering for this week, and with all the heaviness, and then also the light body lifting as well. And I feel like a knowledge has been instilled within the majority of the collective consciousness here in this realm. And the reason why I say that is the same reason why I asked those questions. Where does our knowledge come from? Is it teachings? Is it learnings? And then it was a post that I made in the server chat a few days ago. And I also made a post on my other Instagram page that for kind of more superfluous writings. So when we have this sense of knowledge, what constituted as being knowledge instead of learnings or teachings, and what I came up with was experience. Now, most of us know, like, as an empath, you can basically vicariously experience something through emotion and feelings, and you have an emotional presence of the situation or the interaction or whatever it may be. And we have a time where we are able to kind of assume that presence, but we are not physically and mentally present within the situation of itself. It's more of an afterthought. It's more of a culmination of what has been given and what has been assumed. We are also able to have that perspective kind of outside and in all at once. Now, when I say experience, like, is it ours and the immediate experience that gives knowledge? And taking it a little bit further, how is one to experience without first experimenting? And these are the two pillars that allow for knowledge to have base. If you kind of follow me there, we experiment, like, so things are taught to us, and we go out and test that knowledge until that is tested, and then we see the outcome, and we learn from that, is it really knowledge or is it just basic teachings? As well as a sense of what is it to be learned from and how we can push past that perspective of what is known and what is unknown, experience and experiment. So, due to the experimentation of teachings to gain more learning, we have an experience, and through all of that, knowledge is gained. And I feel like this entire thing that has been inculcated through this year has been one massive teaching to thoughtful knowing to actual experimenting, gaining experience, learning something, and then the knowledge is therefore increased. As a whole, I have felt this raising in the vibrations and raising in the knowledge of such things, like where, okay, it just because I was told this, or just because I read this, or just because I I sought this one predicament and the outcome was the same as what was foretold it would be. Kind of like in research, like you seek validity over different truths, or so, like it, even if it is a true factual representation of an experiment, you want validity. You want someone to be able to come behind you or from a different perspective and duplicate it. So, and I'm not gonna get on that tangent either. I just really want to kind of show that we have this gainful knowledge now. It's been a very interesting roller coaster that we've been on. Right. I like what you said there. Base program like the DOS on a PC. Then we have a framework on which to build a platform. Call it instinct, if you will. Yes, the framework of what has been given is not the knowledge of itself. The platform that is built from that framework is what constitutes knowledge. So wrapping that around to kind of the first bit of topics, we have known there's kind of esoteric meanings and rituals and just the overall sense of things to the occasions of today. And today as in Halloween and All Hallows Eve, and that, not only was it a celestial movement in the heavens, it was something that brought on harvest and reaping what you sow, and that in itself, that's a whole new epiphany there. How we have reaped what we've sown, and much of the sowing throughout this year has been introspective, gainful knowledge, and all of those exercises, all of those goodness and happenings and conscious elevations are now being reaped. And that's what I felt this week was the culmination. Like it takes work to harvest a field. It's like back-breaking work in a way. So after that field is harvested and you've reaped a gameful bounty, all that hard work and all that weight from that work is lifted because of the bounty that was received. And throughout the whole light body and the collective consciousness, we are bountiful. It is like, I know there's been a bunch of fluctuations through different things, different shows that we're all a part of and we like, and there's been a lot of he said, she said stuff on things being taken down or passing through the wires or whatever. So, like, I mean, that is minuscule in the grand scheme of things. I've said it before, we're doing so much better than what we give ourselves credit for. This week has proven that to me, and I now know it because of the grid itself is vibrating. It always is. Now, we have this opportunity to grow even more. So after you harvest and you get things to market, you go back and you ready the fields for new planting, to sow new seeds. And now's not the time to kind of pat ourselves on the back. I mean, by all means, stand up straight and be proud of what's been happening and the good stuff that's been circulating. But persevere in those same actions. Don't let so Dan, to go back to, happy birthday to you, by the way, man. See, boom. I really would say yes to that, Tricky. Like the Borg from Star Trek, it's the cube and the hive mindset of infused humans with nanites. It's wild, and they all work in sync. So the grid itself and the light body that is helping knit it back together, I feel like it's knitted, and I feel like we are on sync with each other in that respect. Like the collective consciousness is no longer unconscious. I mean, it would be the collective unconscious, but I feel like it is becoming more conscious in the sense that waking up is merely a stepping stone. Just as we wake up from a dream, and that dream has massive amounts of significance, yet sometimes is lost upon waking. So it is true for the whole awoken circumstances for what we have. That's what I'm saying. Like throughout this time, there's been much waking up. Yeah, the cloud, if you will. There's been much waking up, and from that awakening has led to more awakenings. It's not a one-stop shop. It's pushing the barrier once you realize there are no barriers. And I don't know, it's been really wild. It's been a wild ride, and I feel like now it's coasting into the ocean as if you were, like how a river empties into the ocean. We've been riding that bumpy river. We've been in the rapids. We've been tossed and turned. The undertow got us a little bit and then it shot us back up, and we're still hanging on for air. And now it's emptied into the sea. And even though the ocean has its rough spots too, and there's waves, wave back, you know? It's part of being. We're on that wavelength. So if you ride the wave, then it's not gonna bump your boat. Passing into that huge sense of that peaceful yet, well, I mean, it's peaceful. I don't know about y'all, but anytime I've been by the ocean, on the ocean, or whatever, it's massively peaceful to me. So, with all that, you know, had a little bit of musings from the knowledge center earlier. Like I said, it's really nothing super special here today for me, y'all. It's gonna be just a little bit of talking and how, you know, we're all still in this. We're doing good. Good is happening. We're better than what we perceive ourselves to be. Even though there's can be construed to be all kinds of misinterpretations and the heaviness of the situation. In those moments, just take a breath. Like just actualize full deep breath and realize, hey, that wave has passed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I like what you said. We've been treading on shallow waters for a long time as a culture. And as we flow into the ocean, we become deeper. It's very, very true. The whole sense, the soul is deeper, the consciousness is deeper. Deeper in the sense that it's more thought provoking, it's more honed, it is more vast in the sense that we aren't a drop in the ocean, we're the ocean and a drop. So, oh yeah, I mean, well, then there's some other things I like to put in that same category, but oh yeah, I mean, however you got to think we are water. So there's nothing here in this realm of earth that is not from or of water. So yeah. If I mess up typing, I still have my glasses up. Can't really even see the screen much. Oh my god. Um, we. Hmm, yeah, lost it. Oh, oh, that one's gone. Lost that train. So, mm, mm, I guess there's more musings I could chip into here a little bit. Oh, so I'm well, Roma. I'm very well, bro. Dan, to your question, it's funny. Me and my dad were talking about this last night. Uh, they do, and do they not anymore? I would say the. All right, so everything within our celestial skies is theoretically under the dome, right? Out of the firmament. So that would means it is a reflection of what we have here. And each part of the realm of itself that is outer line from what we can see and live in oh snap. I mean, even though there is forces that are doing their best to break through the grid or break the grid itself, control the grid as if you were, we are in a way that even though the persistence of such negativity won't be able to bring down the right. They won't be able to bring down that divinity. So Gaines has a good little adage there. There is that will to sever that connection to divinity. I look at it almost like the X-Men movies with the older versions of Professor X and Magneto. I can't remember the names at the moment, but how at the end of the third one, Last Stand, how we found a cure for mutants that was supposed to eradicate the mutant X gene. In actuality, it only suppressed it. And we saw there at the end that even though massively dosed, Magneto eventually started to work out that he still had his magnetic powers. In this same sense, I don't condone the machinations of these negative entities and the will of the negative forces at hand, even in their attempt to sever the divinity within us. I really don't believe it's possible. I'm on the side where divinity is here, and regardless of how we feel about it, like this realm is creation and destruction all at the same time. It is the culmination of the primordials. It's the chaos, the creation all at once, happening at once. And we ourselves are beings of creation and creators as well. Now, surely it's easily noticed that we have creators of chaos through these times of uncertainty, but also we have creators of divine light and justice. So, I mean, creation and destruction go hand in hand in that sense of duality. However, I mean, it very well could be. Now, what we are doing not only is preparing for a overall higher dimensional self, but a higher dimensional realm. And that's what I'm getting at. I really don't see that upswing falling back. I do believe there is something strange going on in the sense of the forces at play still trying to play their game. And my thing is that whole game has been upended. There is no more board because the table that was our backs is no longer a table. There's been a massive amount of standing up in the sense we are furthering our consciousness, furthering our divinity, furthering our spirit, growing in all of these regards. So we aren't bowed at the knee and laid bare by the forces that seek to play games. So, I mean, I'm not downplaying what's happening or what they are intending to do. I'm just saying, no matter what is done, I do not see us falling into a regression of this whole negative culture, this whole allowing the evil to win, if you were. By all means, what you got? He's actually on the Discord chat as well, Gaines, if you would like to post it there. I definitely agree, Roma. We are living in a magnificent time, and we all chose this timeline. And Gaines, if you don't want to put it on the Discord server, you can paste it in the chat here, and I'll recopy it so it's linkable. Whichever you wish to do, friend. And there's Dan, the amount of planets and the happenings in our celestial skies is amazing. It's absolutely wild in the sense that we are on the cusp of greatness. I'll share for sure. Just let me see. Don't worry if I get anything. I'm not gonna. I don't like to covet anything, especially our basic knowledge. Everything should be shared in the sense of knowledge and gainful means. So yes, if I have it, I will share it. Right. So what's that link again? It didn't show up in the chat. Let's see. Yeah, I'll if you can put it on here, I'll pull it up and we can have a reading that isn't one of my readings. What you got? Cool. All right. Thank you, sir. Now give me just a second. I'm getting it in. Yeah. All right. Cool. Let me. All right. So here we are, folks. Cool. All right. So from lockdowns to the Great Reset. This was back in August. The lockdown in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic has accelerated the implementation of long-held plans to establish a so-called NWO under the auspices of World Economic Forum. Boom. All right, we already know about a lot of that stuff. I'm going to try to do my best not to send the red flags on the... I don't want a wrist slap just for no damn reason. You already know how it is. So, with global policymakers are advocating a great reset with the intent of creating global technocracy it is not a coincidence that last week in New York, the WEF participated in another one that happened again. Oh, in 2019. Okay. Yep. So E21 at the high level pandemic exercise organized by Johns Hopkins. So, oh man, bro, yes. Oh yeah. I've looked at both of these and bad juju all around. These votes are ridiculous. So the coming technocracy involves close cooperation between the heads of the digital industry and of governments. We already know that's happening. With programs such as guaranteed minimum income and healthcare for all, still bad juju, new kind of governance. Yep. The truth, however, is that the noir of digital tyranny comes from a comprehensive social credit system. We already know where that is, and the Ebola that causes from that. For the individual, one's identity is reduced to an app. Some think that might be the mark of the beast. Look at the back of your Steve Jobs phones and realize that the beast is already here. One's identity is reduced to that. So this is not that. Just whole little bit. Bam. Obligation. Practicing social distancing. That stuff. Gotta get the facts straight, right? So, reached a stage of knowledge that makes the dreams of social engineering possible. Laws of nature. Oh yeah, man. That's what I'm getting at. Like, even though we know this little bit of time, the last 2 weeks up to leading to today, tonight, last night, so forth, I still feel like all of this is a flamboyant attempt of desperation. And because up to this point, they really, really believed that it was happening. Exactly how they planned it, how they meticulously engineered it. Go down a little bit more. So this right here is programs call for a new social contract. We've heard that already in some of the memes. So climate change. What kind of climate? All right, so they've been harping on climate change forever. Like, what is the actual climate? Is it our weather system? Is it ours? And I mean, I feel like there's more than one climate, and they've been pushing climate change for decades now. So we start picking apart their little pieces and realize that the chessboard, they're playing both sides, and it's really just them playing with themselves to make sure that, hey, the system works. And up to this point that we've come, it has worked. And that's what I'm getting at. The big shift, especially as of late, was it's not working like they had planned. there is more to it. I assume there's more, like there down here on this paragraph. I mean, it's out there. It is absolutely. I mean, you can't say it's not a thing because we've been witnessing it. We've been exposing it. We've been meticulously fighting on our own front to combat this shit. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even though they create these technologies, these agendas, and all this other stuff to lord over us by giving it to us, they're also, oh yeah, man, dude. Well, they're also, they're the contingency that we utilize the very same tools and apparatuses that are given to us that are meant to suppress us is allowing us to rise. So, I mean, that could all be a ruse too. I mean, you throw enough what ifs around, more than not, out of the handful is going to be correct. So, now, oh yeah, this whole cosmic shift and oh yeah, I mean it is a scary, scary thought, Tricky. The aroma with the cosmic shift and the veil, just kind of the necromantic veil of this week has already thinned enough. We also are going to have a huge cosmic shift come December when there is a alignment that is freaking ancient and awesome all at the same time. I really do believe that it will cause natural and unnatural phenomenon that we're accustomed to in the sense of myth and legend when it happens. Yeah, so like the times that we're living in now will be the myths of old for generations well after we're gone. It's same thing with like the old world deities. Now, as far as gamma waves, it could be. I would like to be partial to say that something that we haven't necessarily comprehended in the scientific realm as of yet. Some new type of wave. Not necessarily new, just one that hasn't been studied yet. Because it is going to be truly of cosmic nature, not just of like a celestial body output or anything like that. It's more of a grander scheme. It's more of a more, I don't know, lost for words on that one, but yeah, it's a little bit bigger. So these guys have been really, really striving. See right here for this situation that we found ourselves in. I mean, they've been putting it down. Thank you for this. I'll be glad to share this with some folks that will need to read it. Now, their agenda-based reset is not the reset on the cosmic level. That's like when I see Great Reset, I see this cosmic shift into a vibrational raising. Now, as far as ascension, I feel like it would be more like regression because we are realizing that we're going back to what we used to be, which is greater than what we are now. Because we regressed, or we would regress to where we are now, so it would be a progression to where we were, which in itself would be a regression as well because that's where we start. So yeah, I don't know. It's wild. It really is wild. Got one more that getting sent. It's from brand new tube. And if I get a slap on the wrist for this, so be it. But we already know what that means too. So yeah. I'll go to brand YouTube. I don't know if we'll actually watch this right now. How long is it? About 20 minutes long. So I'm not going to be able to watch all this, but alright, so y'all saw the thing. This right here, brand YouTube. Alright. Y'all go check that out. Oh, dude, like, the Nazis were the ones that came up with this agenda. Like, every bit of it. No, they weren't killed. They were just moved and given a different name. NASA. So, yeah, I mean, like, Tricky, you got a good one. The Man in the High Castle. Watch that. And if you can assimilate that to basically where we are now and the agenda and technology and what's being proffered as truth before this big truth movement, they did. They went to a bunch of places, and going down is also going up in a regard. So, and you do need to check it out, Gaines. It's an excellent show. Eric B, good morning, bro. So we'll have another small. Well, no. Those of you in the server chat, y'all know that last little musings I did. I'll add a link real quick to the server chat for those who might want it. Otherwise, right, so that's good for today. If y'all have Discord, more than welcome to join in on the chats. But yeah, let me see. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to bore y'all with more of my readings. I will, however, find us one. Oh, most definitely. I'm definitely going to check it out here in just a minute. Okay, so I actually need to be cutting this one short. I believe Nick has a channel live going as well. Not sure. Let me see. He did go to D Live. So if y'all know D Live, let me see. He went to well, y'all already know about thegoodlion.tv. I know you do. All of Nick's stuff is on there. I'm not sure. I didn't see it. See, when I try to go to it, I don't see anything. So I have no idea. Yeah. Not seeing it, Roma, so, but yeah. Anyways, let me find us a little bit of goodness. Actually, there was one song I did want us to listen to. I like it a lot.
A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts. So, he loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusions. By thoughts, I mean specifically chatter in the skull, perpetual and compulsive repetition of words, of reckoning and calculating. I'm not saying that thinking is bad. Like everything else, is useful in moderation. A good servant, but a bad master. And all so-called civilized peoples have increasingly become crazy and self-destructive because through excessive thinking they have lost touch with reality. That's to say, we confuse science with the real world. money than tangible wealth, and a great occasion is somehow spoiled for us unless photographed. And to read about it the next day in the newspaper is oddly more fun for us than the original event. This is a disaster. For as a result of confusing the real world of nature with mere science, we are destroying nature. We are so tied up in our minds that we've lost our senses. Time to wake up. What is reality? Obviously, no one can say because it isn't words. It isn't material, that's just an idea. Reality is it's an expression of you as you are. One must live. We need to survive, to go on. We must go on.
Woo. Alrighty, folks, I'm gonna find us one more little tune. Let's see if I can actually pick up a good one. Pick us up a good one. I like that. Oh yeah. Keeping it simple today. Just breathing. Taking a moment to decompress, to not allow yourself to overthink, to constantly try to solve the puzzles of what's going on around us. And in doing so, this deep, healing, clarifying breath, we reconnect to that divinity in the most simplest of ways. We allow ourselves to flourish in that divine light. You know, God has given us so much. He's allowed for us to envelop creation, and from that creation allowed us to create. So, in a sense, we've nothing more to do than to be present, to be at ease in the goings of the present, tellings of the past, and the imaginings of the future. And all of these inculcate our experience. And how we experience these things is dictated by our preference, our perspective, and how we breathe in the moment. I just want y'all to breathe a little bit. Bring in that healing, loving vibe. And as you exhale, spread it. Let it radiate from your solar plexus, from your heart, from your third eye. Encase you in a light of love, peace, and clarity. And with those same breaths, every exhale, we're giving back a little bit to the grid, to the universe, to that source. It's been said in the chat, and all those things, a realm of oneness, because we are all one, and we are in this together. Just want y'all to know I love you. I want y'all to have a peaceful, blessed, and magical All Hallows Eve. Keep those vibrations high. Keep the good times rolling. And peace, love, happiness, clarity, abundance to each and every single one of you. Much love, and I'll catch y'all next time, all right? not getting a good chuckle out of that. My bad, drummer. Please forgive me. Oh. Alright, y'all, I'm not really finding Nick anywhere. I thought he had something, but till he does, until I do again, I'll see y'all later. Much love.